Porsche days were great. Certainly, I would have to say a golden era it was. I mean, and true sense of pioneering and innocence, because we all kind of really didn't know what we were doing. I mean, I don't care if it was Al Holbert's team to Bob Aiken's team. We all were kind of babes in the woods on the deal, and it was kind of before you had teams of aerodynamicists and engine people, and engineering staff was heavier than mechanic staff. Obviously 700-800 horsepower, the cars, they sounded great. There was no such thing as saving fuel when you got out of the throttle, and hence it produced these beautiful long flames out the exhaust pipe, which certainly a crowd pleaser. They were fast, they looked good. We got aids on there now, like these fins and such on the back of the car to keep them from flipping over and such, which great safety devices, but kind of make the cars look ugly. Back then they were just the pure thing, and it was definitely a more of an unsanitized deal, right down to we used to change tires and stuff in short sleeve shirts. There was you had a pair of Nomex gloves on and that was it. Ball cap, short sleeve shirt, whatever you wanted to do. And we left the cars running while we fueled them and did a pit stop. No pit lane speeds, it just, you're on your own,
Looking back on it, they had a lot of horsepower, they accelerated well, had good top speed, but the brakes weren't very good. And then on the slow corners, they were very slow, but they were quite good around the fast corners. They had a lot of download, and of course the tyres were a lot harder, or had less performance in those days. Whereas if you drive a 962 now, it's surprising how fast it is up the straight, how slow it is around the slow and medium speed corners. It's probably tyres that have changed most, but also just in terms of improving the lap time, because the aerodynamics have gone backwards because they're not allowed tunnels. The aerodynamics are a lot more fussy and fiddly, but not as outrageous as it used to be. And the other thing that's really improved are the electronic controls on the engine. Because with 962 you used to go bridge to engine room, and then some bloke would sort of get on his push bike, ride off down the wire to the turbo, say, look mate, that lunacy up the front wants you to do something. So then the turbo, you cycle off to the ECU, and then a bloke would get a bus, train, hitch a lift, back to the throttle pedal. This took a long time. So, the throttle lag could be 2 or 3 seconds. Whereas now we're down to, there is really no throttle lag. If you were driving along at a closed throttle and demanded full throttle, it would go to maximum boost. It would build the boost in about 120 milliseconds, as against 2.5, 3 seconds. And in the old days, if you got in the wrong gear going too slowly, if you put your foot on the throttle, you could get halfway through War and Peace before anything happened. You literally had to put it in first gear, fan the clutch, get it going, and then set off again. That doesn't sound very good, does it? That was a long time ago.